Eat, Sleep, Box and Repeat. I'm delighted to be joined by Padraig McCrory. Padraig, how are you?
Man, I'm very good. Very close to a fight, but I'm good.
How is training going then? Obviously, now that when we're recording this, just over 2 weeks away from the fight.
Yeah, training's went very well. Obviously, I'm coming off a bad injury which happened about 14 weeks ago. On May Day, I broke my hand, but the recovery went well. Sparring went well, so things are good.
And how do these last 2 weeks look for you between now and fight night? Obviously, you've got fight week, and that's all about making weight and stuff, I suppose. But in terms of sparring and training, kind of when does that wrap up?
Yeah, so I'm going to fly over to Manchester next Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm going to spar with, so I'll have one last spar over there. I'll do a bit tomorrow as well. And then the sparring, I'll probably be finished for Wednesday. And then after that, it's just about like getting the weight down and just staying sharp.
And I mentioned there about fight week and getting the weight down. Is that something that you enjoy as a fighter, or is it just like, right, come on here, when's Saturday, when's fight night?
Yeah, listen, it's all part of the process. I enjoy fight week, especially like on big shows when you have like you have to do like media stuff and like public workouts and stuff. So like I love all that stuff. So listen, like it's all part of the process. Just obviously like it's not enjoyable, like restricting calories and stuff. But yeah, it's all part of it, isn't it?
You mentioned there, obviously, you got that bad hand injury in May. You say it's healed and all, but what was that like? Was that kind of, how frustrating was that having to rest up for so long? I'm sure you were, because you hadn't fought since November, so I'm sure you were looking to get out obviously earlier than this.
Yeah, so we were hoping to get out towards the end of May, and to be honest, like in the end I was flying. I was really, really fit. One of the guys from Belfast was fighting on a big show, and I was doing a couple of rounds with him, and unfortunately broke my hand. So yeah, very, very frustrating. And it held me back. But anytime like a bad things happen, something good always came from it. So I'm now here. I'm on a massive show, and I'm a massive part of that show as well. So I'm trying to like take the positives out of it.
Obviously, you mentioned there that you're fighting on this huge show at the SSA Arena, headlined by Mick Conlon, on the 6th of August. You're making the second defence, I believe, of your WBC International Silver Super Middleweight title. Obviously, you won it in Falls Park in August last year and defended it at Ulster Hall in November. This time you're up against Marco Paraban. He's a Mexican fighter. What do you know about him and what he really brings to the table? Well,
I think if you just look at his resume, he's fought at the elite level. He's fought for a world title, compete on a very close decision. He has a draw with Padraig Jack. He's been in the ring with Miguel Boazzi. So he's fought at a serious level. He's now 37. So listen, if he comes and he's as good as he was still, it's going to be a really, really tough night, which I train for. I'm expecting him like coming and like thinking it's his last chance to maybe get to the top and maybe get a chance at a world title again. So I'm expecting him like to give us all. But he's a good fighter, and he can punch hard. So I'll need to be at like my very best.
You mentioned there he's shared the ring with the likes of James DeGale, obviously. Even more recently, Alvin Yildirim, Josh Boazzi. He also shared the ring with Saki Obika a few years ago. Obviously, the most recent one there, I think, for UK and Ireland boxing fans, obviously people obviously know the name of Joshua Boazzi. And I think he went 4 rounds with Boazzi, but that was up at light heavyweight. So he's clearly an experienced guy, and as you said there, obviously you back yourself every time, but definitely a tough fight, and he'll be coming to win.
Yeah. So like from what I hear, that he's definitely coming to win. He's had a lot of notice for this fight, so it's not as if it's like 2-3 weeks notice. He's had 10 weeks, and he has a lot of experience. So I think it's a good fight for me at this stage of my career. But I also think that it's a very hard fight as well, a very dangerous fight.
You mentioned there obviously before that Paraban has a draw against Padraig Jack, and think boxing fans all know the name of Padraig Jack, and that was back in 2013, so it was, as you said, nearly 10 years ago. So he can clearly box, he can clearly fight, this guy. How do you make sure that you don't become unstuck against a man who is, fair to say, in the professional ring anyway, has had a lot more experience than you?
I just have to get in and do as I plan to do. Me and my coach have come up with plan A, B, and C, and if plan A is not working, it's plan B. I know I expect to be a few sticking points, but it's about adopting in the ring on the night and making sure that I do anything just to get the win.
You're obviously coming here. I know you've had that longish layoff, but you're coming here fresh off the back of 3 consecutive knockout wins since stepping up to 8 rounds and then 10 rounds as well. Do you feel that you're believing in your power a bit more now?
Yeah, I've always had power. There was a few fights in the middle where I fought a couple of journeymen, and sometimes they're really hard to get out of there. They're like survival mode, high guard, and they're hard to hit. But my last 3 opponents, they all came to fight, and it didn't end well for them. So I think I'm getting stronger. I think I'm getting better, and I'm getting more confident. So I think it's all showing now in the ring.
Obviously, looking at your opponent again, Paraban, he's been beaten 5 times, but only 2 of them have come by stoppage, and one was up at light heavyweight against Buatsi, and one was obviously against former super middleweight champion of the world, James DeGale. How do you think you can add? Do you think you can add your name to this kind of illustrious list of people that have been able to stop Marco Paraban?
Yeah, well, I think I can have the power to do that. And if he comes to fight, he's going to leave gaps. So I'm not going to end up in a knockout, but if the chance comes, I think I have the power to take him out.
You obviously train with the likes of Owen O'Neill, Colin Murphy, Lewis Crocker, down at Glean with D. Walsh. What's it like in there? What's the environment like in the gym? Do you enjoy training? I'm sure there's a big buzz in there every time.
Yeah. So them lads are coming up. So Colin Murphy's fighting on the same bill for a BI title. Owen O'Neill's he's just coming off a good win as well. So the gym's buzzing, and you have Connor Quinn, who I believe they can go all the way. And we all bounce off each other. The atmosphere is good. He's a great coach. He studies boxing and he loves boxing as well. The atmosphere is good. I love staying in Belfast. I have a job and family here as well, so here suits me to ground.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned there, obviously, it's going to be a busy night for D. He's got a few fighters on the bill, including yourself. Does this help you all, knowing you are all kind of working towards the same thing? You know, you're all having to make weight together, knowing that you're on the same card and stuff like that.
Yeah, no. So they say, like, we all bounce off each other. Colin's fighting as well, and he's a super fit boy. So trying to match him, like in training, it's so like as much as you like we're mates, like it's always competitive as well. So like you always want to do better, and if they're fighting like around the same time as you, it just makes training like more fun and more competitive and always harder.
No, I'm sure it's brilliant. Obviously, you're looking at this card now. It's an absolutely massive card. So what does it mean for you to fight, in front of your hometown fans on a card of this size and magnitude?
Yeah, 12 fights. Every fighter is very, very good. There's like all Irish fights. There's top prospects. There's Mick Conlon. There's Tro McKenna, who's always in a good fight. And now I'm going to be way up the card. I'm going to be in front of like nearly a full arena. And it's at the Odyssey, which is the biggest venue in Belfast. It means everything to me. I started, so my first fight was in the Odyssey, but then after that it was all small hall. It was all small hall, and now I've got to hear I'm high on the bill. I'm in a good fight against a very experienced opponent, and that's what I want.
Yeah, obviously it'll be packed, as we've said, at the Odyssey on August 6th, and I believe you've sold 200 or more tickets yourself, so it'll be loud in there cheering on yourself. Yeah,
I think I always sell loads of tickets, and this time I got a lot to buy on pre-sale as well, so there's going to be a lot of people there. My last fight, like in Ulster Hall, was only about 1,100 people, and the noise was electric. So I'm expecting that times 10.
What does it mean to you to have your fans there? Obviously, you're walking out, your ring walk, you're hearing people chanting your name. Does it give you an almost, I suppose it's different when you're walking in. You're enjoying the moment, but obviously when you're in the ring, it's all business. But can you hear? Does that register with you? Does it register with you the fans cheering your name when you're in the zone, or are you just listening to the coaches in the corner?
Yeah, no. Listen, you feel there's like a strange energy in the room, and then when the noise starts and it gets louder and louder, it just gives you an extra bit of a buzz, an edge. Like in my last fight in November, the week leading up, I wasn't feeling great. I was feeling sick. I fought, and after the first round, I sat down. I was like, "Shit! I'm not feeling too good." And then I got up. I started fighting again, and then the crowd started cheering, and then cracked, and then it was over, and it was some buzz. I feel like I thrive off a big atmosphere.
Obviously, you say about a big atmosphere there, and fighting out of Belfast, we've got to have one of the best atmospheres and the best fighting cities in the world, haven't we?
Yeah, it's getting better and better and better. So the last two false par shows were amazing, and Belfast is a massive boxing city, so I'm very proud to be where I am, and I love fighting in Belfast. 12 of my fights have been here, and every time it's getting better.
Going back to something that you mentioned earlier, you mentioned obviously juggling the boxing and the training along with family and then work as well. I believe you still do have a job, don't you, as well as the boxing? You're a personal trainer, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm up every morning at 5:30 going to work, and then I have 3 kids as well, and they're 4 and under, so it's challenging. I'm probably in a position where I should be looking at going full time, but as I say, I have 3 kids in the house. I haven't fought in 10 months, so somebody has to pay the bills. But I always say to myself, this is the life I chose, so boxing is what I want to do. I wanted a family, and I work, and it's work that I enjoy, so it's all a bonus.
Yeah, well, fair play to you for doing that. Not everyone would be able to do that. I know you as a boxer, you don't want to look too far ahead. You always do want to concentrate on the job in hand. But provided you do win, let's say you do, what's next?
Yeah, so obviously I have a tough test on the 6th of August, but I know after that there's purse bids called for the EUBU title shortly after that fight. So if I come through the 6th of August, I think that makes the most sense. Fighting Tamba, he's a French guy, EBU champion, or EUBU. But if I was offered a bigger and better fight, I'm very open to that.
So you mentioned there about fighting for the EUBU. I heard you also mention a name which is familiar with boxing fans over here and in the UK, in Rocky Fielding. Is that something that potentially is that what you mean, where it's not for a title, but it's a big fight?
Yeah, he's a massive name. He's an ex-world champion. I met Rocky Fielding at the Fontainebleau at Windsor Park, and a few drinks on me, and I got a photograph with him, and I actually said to him, "Me and you's going to fight one day," as a joke. And now it could potentially happen. Massive name, and a massive respect for him, but it's a fight I'm open to. Going
back to something you said also earlier, it's kind of, there's 12 fights on this card, and if you look at just the names, the likes of Kurt Walker, Paddy Donovan, Kieran Malloy, James McGivern, Sean McComb, then you've got that Celtic title fight between Ruan Farrell and Colin Murphy. You've got Tara McKenna, Chris Jenkins. You've obviously got the main event then as well in Conlon against Mariaga, all in this card. Then, yeah, exactly. Add in yourself. What is it like? It's just, if you think about it, it's an absolutely mental card that we have in Belfast, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say it's probably the biggest card post-COVID. In the whole UK, 12 fights. It's massive. Stacked from, as I say, Olympians, Paddy Donovan, who's a great talent, Thomas Carthy, who's same with Dillian White. Listen, like the list goes on. Lewis Crocker, who's on the verge of doing some like massive stuff as well. But it's stacked. So again, I'm privileged and honoured to be sharing the night with the best talent in Ireland.
Brilliant, Paddy, and I'll give you the final word then. Tell everyone why they should tune in on August 6th and what they expect from Paddy McCrory come fight night.
Folks, tune in. It's going to be a massive night of boxing, stacked top to bottom, and I'm going to put on a massive performance, explosive power, and a massive KO.
Well, listen, Paddy, thanks very much for your time as always. It's been brilliant. I really appreciate it, and all the best come fight night. All the best, Paddy. Thanks very much. Bye bye.